this made me laugh, because you're seeing now in the Western media, like, oh my God, protesters in Russia, they can go to jail for 5 years. Hold on a second. Why aren't you talking about the UK? Like, you're British media, okay? And in the UK, we have massive protests, kill the bill protests, right? Because the police crime sentencing and courts bill is saying that if you're, a nuisance, the cops can just shut down your protest on the spot, even if it's one person. You can go to jail for 10 years in the UK under this bill. 10 years for protesting, for doing what they're cheering on in Russia, right? So they love condemning Russia, but they say nothing about their own government, their own country. How does that work? And if it's on principle, okay, but again, why nothing? Why no criticism of what the UK is doing? And another thing is that now Russia's passed this law which bans disinformation about the military, right? You can get up to 15 years in prison or something. And I find it very funny that when Russia, as soon as Russia passes a law against disinformation, do you know who leaves Russia? The BBC, CNN, NBC. What does that say? If you're only reporting facts, why did you leave Russia then? Why are you so scared about this disinformation law? Again, it's kind of comical, right, in a way. But in any case, obviously, we know that when governments say that they're going to start putting people in jail for reporting things that they, that on a whim, like, who gets to decide what's disinformation, right? I understand. I get it. But, RT was just banned, for example, in Europe, is taken off the air in the UK because the satellite broadcasters in Luxembourg, and they complied with the sanctions. The Twitter, the YouTube, they're all sanctioned. I cannot even see any of the posts. So just brazen censorship. And everyone in RT America has been laid off. They lost their jobs, their shows, their podcasts. And you're acting like, it's what Russia's doing is outrageous with this disinformation law. Why are you cheering on censorship of RT, but then when it happens to you, you're acting like the hugest, the biggest victim in the world? Come on, man. Come on. They love censorship. They absolutely love it. The liberals, the EU, the neoliberal elites in Western Europe and the United States, they love it. They've just been begging for a reason to go and ban RT, to get rid of it. And when it happens to their networks, and again, they're not even really banned. No one said in Russia that the BBC is banned. They just said you can't publish disinformation about the military because there's a war on. They feel threatened, and they're complaining and saying that the press is being attacked. Yeah, but when it happens in the UK and the West, you don't say anything. When, like Assange, for example, I mean, again, I'm like one of the only people covering the case. Dude, I can tell you one thing. I've never been invited on mainstream media to talk about Assange. Why don't you want to address that attack on the press? Like, it only suits you when it's outside your own country, Like, these bills, the kill the bill protests, that's in my country. I criticize my government. When it comes to Assange, he's being held in my country, in the UK. I criticize my government and my country and what they're doing, right? But you don't. I don't know. Sounds a bit fishy to me. You're only for freedom of the press when it's in Russia, and you don't care when it's in your own backyard. How does that add up? Hypocrites, man. They're such hypocrites, and they never like it when you give them a taste of your own medicine. They never like that, right? Absolute hypocrites. When you go and you read these headlines about RT being banned, they're like, "Oh my God, RT's spreading poison in the air, and it's absolute disinformation." You guys have been saying for a couple of years now that the Russians in general, they're doing nothing but disinformation, right? They're infiltrating elections, and they're spreading else to their media, and they're everywhere. It's like a Red Scare 2.0. It's the same Cold War bullshit. And you've been saying that Russia is a center of disinformation. It disseminates lies all the time. And now you're mad when they pass a law against disinformation. Hold on a second. Like, why aren't you supporting their efforts? Why are you fleeing the country? They're such hypocrites, man. They're such hypocrites. Honestly, I really find it. I find it hilarious that they call RT poison, and every outlet that's like foreign back or a foreign funded, like Press TV or let's say RT or CGTN or Telesur, like they have state media. Like these brown people and those Chinese people and those Ruskies, they have state media because like the people there are stupid or something. But we have a free media, dude. The propaganda on CNN and the BBC and Sky News does not even fucking like you. It cannot even compete. Right? I mean, RT and Press TV, they cannot even compete with the level of propaganda in the West. It's not even close. You're literally owned by corporations, which I mean, is arguably, if you want to talk about state media, when people say state media, what are they implying? They're saying that basically that this channel or outlet is conveying the opinions of the state. Yeah, but first of all, that's not even true. You can go on RT and criticize Russia, no problem. Craig Murray was posting about that the other day, that he was asked on RT and he said, yeah, I'm going to criticize Russia though. And they said, fine, come on. So, you can do that. But when it comes to corporate media, because it's called corporate media because the corporations own both the media and the state. That's the irony. So, you want to talk about poison. Look at yourselves. Honestly, they come on Fox News or CNN and they try to like sell you this idea that you deserve not to have healthcare, right? They like try to program you into accepting that shit, which is so dystopian. And then they have the nerve to talk about like poison from RT. RT does great journalism. You hacks CNN sold the fucking war in Iraq and every other war since. Like you do nothing but sell, ads for the pharmaceutical industry and bombs. You justify drone striking people. I mean, you're some of the most loathsome networks on earth. And you want to come and talk about other outlets because you don't like that they're just foreign backed. You don't like that they debunk your stuff. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. You're gonna go on RT. You're gonna see a lot more truthful coverage about Syria than you would anywhere else. You're gonna see a lot more truthful coverage about Syria on Press TV. The Iran nuclear deal, they don't even touch on that in the West. You see like maybe a few articles in Reuters and it's just copy and pasted in 50 million outlets because it's the same hacks writing it and it's complete garbage. That no one even properly covers it. Actually, even in independent media, I don't know anyone covering it besides me. Honestly, I'm in the actual city where it's happening, so that I'm aptly placed to do it. But even that thing, it's like they don't even cover it in corporate media except to like say Iran is developing nuclear weapons. Why don't you stop with this line? It's getting boring. You've been telling us for 30 years that Iran is like a few weeks away from nuclear weapons. What is a week? What does a week mean in Iran? Are they in a different dimension? There's like space-time dilation or something. And you're going to get a lot more coverage, not just truthful coverage, but coverage in general on Assange. Like you won't hear it at all in Western media. On the BBC, maybe once in a blue moon to like smear him. That was funny to me when they were talking about Assange a few months ago, like before the High Court, and they made no mention of like the CIA plot to assassinate him. Like they just casually left that out. What the hell? So do you get my point? Like they do far more dishonest coverage, far more disinformation. It's not even comparable, and yet no one's banning them and calling them to be taken off the air. As a matter of fact, they have more airtime than anyone else, even on the internet. They get an advantage because YouTube promotes corporate media. They're never banned, they're never shadow banned, they're never throttled. Their channels are never throttled. On the contrary, like the legacy media, radio and TV and print, they knew that the internet is the future, and what they did is they went and started saying that, well, YouTube needs to demonetize people that we don't like and deplatform people that we don't like, and then basically open up that market share for corporate media, right? So again, I really think that CNN and BBC and ITV and Sky News and Channel 4 and Fox and MSNBC are in no position. You are in no position morally or in any other capacity to be criticizing RT and Press TV. Seriously, you're a joke. You're ridiculous. You're going to get a lot more truthful coverage on those places by far than you would on corporate media. Corporate media is a plague, honestly. Even them, as much as I loathe them, I wouldn't say that they should be banned. And I think a lot of you might even disagree with me. But just to show you that there's no hypocrisy here. You know, on the contrary, I think they should be allowed to do their thing, so we can keep exposing them for the hacks that they are. Unfortunately, the problem is when they are so effective that they're able to convince people into murdering others, you know, on the other side of the planet and justify drone strikes. That's what scares me. You know, that's what's 20 years war on terror, war on drugs, no healthcare. You name it, they justify it. You know, and you end up with millions and millions dead, killed, displaced. It's fucking horrible.